Hello, 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 hello. Hi. It is the morning of Wednesday, the 30th of March. I'm gonna take this van back. It was supposed to be back at 12. It's not. I'm also supposed to be doing not safe at work PMQs. Obviously, I can't really do that. Bit of a disconcerting week though. Okay. Sorry, I'm just maneuvering, so I'm just going to ignore you for a moment. Let me out. You can let me out. Thank you. Come on, sometimes take my love. Okay. Right. So I thought that I could possibly put the radio on and have the PMQs on the radio so you can get my reaction to what Boris Johnson's saying as I'm driving. Talk about multitasking, but I don't have LBC sounds on my other phone. Sorry, LBC Global Player. Couldn't find it on the App Store. I couldn't find LBC on my digital radio in this. I've got to get back. Do you know what I mean? I can't be funny in around for ages. Oh no! I thought they were going to run. I thought they were going to run Prime Minister's questions. Obviously, they don't do that because that'd be too useful, wouldn't it? Nice. Oh, I can get talk radio. There we go.
They will introduce a small tax cut. That's not taking difficult decisions. It's putting the Tory re-election campaign over and above helping people pay their bills.
This is going to be safe for work, Prime Minister's questions.
How did you find a chancellor as utterly cynical as he is? Prime Minister, what we have, Mr. Speaker, is a chancellor who took the tough decisions to look after the throughout the pandemic, to predict
tough decisions to give 4.3 billion pounds, 4.3 billion to 4.
Mr. Speaker, we know that they always ask to pay income tax, a tax on working people. Tuition fee rate, a tax on working would raise billions, and even on working
only be on the rich.
Mr. Speaker, the former CEO of BP, Lord John Brown, says a windfall tax is justifiable. The current CEO says they have, in his words, more cash than they shielding oil and gas profits for supporting working people.
Well, we know the answer to that, don't we? It's a
classic example of what Labour has got in their period. I remember
what? Oh. My audio. Sorry.
Talking of parties.
Talking of parties. Last night, the other party, they walked past people.
He told them how no rules were broken in Downing Street.
Grieving for their children and their families.
The ministerial code says that ministers who knowingly mislead the House should resign.
Yeah.
Why is he still here?
Yes!
Hang on a minute.
Yeah. No, fucking lamp him. Slap him. Give him a Will Smith special.
We do at least expect some consistency from this human weather vane. It was only a week or so ago where you were saying that I shouldn't resign. He's got to make
before it was proven that you missed that good parliament.
Of course,
you missed that parliament. We had no proof before. Now we have proof. We have proof.
But in the meantime, Mr. Speaker, we're going to get on with our job. And what we are focusing on is tackling the cost of living, helping people through the spike in fuel prices of 9.1 billion that the Chancellor has set out. But also, during the long, I've mentioned nuclear plants, I've mentioned tackling our energy supplies, which Labour totally failed to do. What we're also doing, far more important perhaps even than that, Mr. Speaker, we're tackling illiteracy and innumeracy in our schools. And I think we're investing billions in tutoring, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're focused on. I think that's what the people in this country want us to focus on.
No, I want people in this country want you to resign, mate.
Look, there are
check out the opinion poll.
Either he's trashing the ministerial code, or he's claiming he was repeatedly lied to by his own advisors, but he didn't know what was going on in his own house and his own office. Come off it. He really does think that it's one rule for him and another rule for everyone else. That he can pass off criminality in his office and ask others to follow the law. That he can keep raising taxes and call himself a tax cutter. That he can hike tax during a cost of living crisis and get credit for giving a bit back just before an election. When is he going to stop taking the British public for fools?
Never. A lot of this public are fools. So.
This is the leader of the opposition who would have kept this country in lockdown. Absolutely impossible. He has zero consistency on any issue.
Consistency.
One thing we know
about U-turn. How many U-turns has he had so far? Anyone keep it count? 97 of them, I think.
Thanks to what this government has done, we have unemployment back down to the levels it was before the pandemic. The economy bigger than it was, and we have record vacancies, Mr. Speaker. The difference between them and us is they want to keep people, Mr. Speaker, they want to keep people on benefits. We want to help people into work. And that's what we're doing in record numbers.
Why are you using Labour and stuff that they're not in power?
And that's what we're doing.
You're not cutting taxes, you're raising taxes, you're doing the absolute opposite of that. You're raising taxes. Raising taxes for working people. Cutting taxes for your rich oligarch mates.
Last time I updated the House, Mr. Speaker, on the number of unicorns that we had in this country. That's tech countries worth more than $1 billion, Mr. Speaker. I said we had 100. I can inform you now, Mr. Speaker, that we now have 120. They don't want to hear it. Let me tell you. That's more than France. That's more than Germany. That's more than Israel. It's more than France, Germany, and Israel combined, Mr. Speaker.
What is he talking about?
That's what's happening. Because decisions we've taken,
really
we take the tough decisions, we deliver, they play politics, Mr. Speaker.
This is freaking out. He's absolutely lost it.
Hey, John. I've heard it quite as rowdy as that for a while.
That was very rowdy. Now, you know that Boris...
Oh, shut up, bastards. Okay, hello and welcome to UK for UKR. Sorry, we just got kind of a little bit hijacked there by not safe for work PMQs. They were pretty safe for work actually today, because I you know, I know people might be watching this because of what we've just done, going to the Ukrainian border with aid. So I got in last night at about 5:30 at my parents' house in Liverpool, here in Liverpool, at the moment, and there was already more deliveries in the hallway that have come for the next trip to Ukraine. So no rest for the wicked. I got in, I posted on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and then I promptly passed out in my bed. Got a few hours sleep, and I'm up and at 'em again. I cleaned out the van. The van is clean now. It's sans coffee cups. Honestly, it was 70% coffee cups earlier in here. It was a bit insane, actually. So my mum, who is the Angel of the North, she is going to, not the Angel of the North, what stands up near Newcastle, obviously that's a different one. Yeah, she's going to meet me at the van hire place and then take me to the train station so I can get the train back to Durham, which is where I live at the moment. Joe Hayes there checking in from life at Bojo Day. Yeah, Bojo. Hi there from Dublin, says Joe. Hi Dublin. All Short says, nicely done, Duke. I hope I nail my politics PMQ's pool this time around. You will. Politics bingo. What was it? PMQ bingo. I should do that. I should do little graphics to come up on the screen, shouldn't I? Every time he mentions vaccinations. Every time he mentions being well beating and some nonsense or other. He's not streaming, he's having a work meeting. Yeah. So last night, the Tories had a party. And Michael Fabricant, he was interviewed going in. And he was already sloshed. And there were people who had lost their families who were holding a vigil outside. And all these MPs walked past them and would look at them. Wouldn't even look at us. People died. We've got to get rid of these. We've got to get rid of them. We have to. Anyway, look, I'm just taking the van back. Talk about my experiences in Ukraine. Well, not in Ukraine. I mean, I just went to the border. So we started out on Saturday, and I didn't leave Liverpool till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The reason for that, there was so much to do, and there was a match on. So I had to go to North Liverpool, get the van. I had to go camping, go outdoors. Then I had to go to Costco, and I had to go down to South Liverpool, pick up a wheelchair, and do all this stuff. And basically, there was a match on, and the traffic was just insane. So I did manage to get out about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and it was quite good because there was a match on. Well, the traffic was quite light on the motorways. So I headed down to Northamptonshire and met up with Chris Rossi up there, and we then headed to the Channel Tunnel. Went through on the Channel to France, and we stayed at the Ibis Budget in Calais on the first night, and we shared a room. We shared one of these Ibis Budget rooms, and you won't believe how small they are. And I don't know if you noticed in the because we're sitting down a lot, but in any of the photos or whatever, Bear is a big guy. He is 6'6" and 27 stone. He's a guy that you do not mess with. You do not mess with Bear. And yeah, but it also meant that he literally couldn't fit in the shower in the Ibis Budget. It was too small. Anyway, so we got up, we had breakfast at about 8 o'clock. We were off. No, 10 o'clock, because what happened was you lose an hour when you go to France because of the time difference, but also the clocks went forward, so we lost 2 hours. So it wasn't until 10 o'clock maybe that we got going. And then we just hit it. I mean, we took a few breaks, but we alternated who was driving. I think I drove most of the day on the Sunday, and then at night I pulled over once we got to Poland. We were a little bit into Poland, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and Bear took over and he drove it through till about 6, I think, so he did a 5-hour stint. We had a bit of a break. I slept while he was driving, and then I took over. We got to the border for 8 o'clock, which I mean, I've got to say, like, when you say to someone, He goes, when will you be here? And I said to Dr. Gordon, medic on the border, so what time are you? And I said 8 o'clock. Well, I'll try and aim for 8 o'clock. And we drove across a continent. We drove from almost one end of a continent to the other. I got there bang on at 8 o'clock. I'm good at this. Anyway, so we arrived, and the scenes at the border. We spoke about this a little bit yesterday. Oh, thanks very much, Yosh, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. I can never be a van driver. I don't envy your mission, but I do praise you. Oh, thank you. When we got to the border, it was shocking how. I mean, it made my heart swell. The fact that these volunteers had come there, and they were there and set tents up, and they were helping, marquees, awnings, and they were there to help, and that was great. But both of us, both me and Bear, were very cross and angry at the fact that the UNHCR didn't seem to be there, and the Red Cross didn't seem to be there, and it was like, they should definitely be there. This is a major border crossing. There's already been over 4 million refugees coming over from Ukraine, not necessarily through that border, but a lot of them would have come through that border. And you've got people who are fleeing war, fleeing absolute terror, people who are traumatized, people with PTSD, elderly people, vulnerable people, people with young babies, pregnant mothers. And all of these people are finding it, their lives have been turned upside down. And then they get to the border and there's nobody taking control. There's no one who is, overseeing what's happening there, and it does seem very ad hoc, and that's something that's a bit of I don't know, I'll say disappointment, but it goes beyond being disappointed. Do you know what I mean? It's wrong. It's almost criminal that we have these charities, we have the UAR, and they're not there. This is exactly what the UNHCR exists to do, is to help refugees. Why aren't they there helping refugees? Don't tell me they don't have the people, because there's literally people there who would volunteer. They're there now, they're already living there, they've already been there for a month, working every day, helping refugees across the board, giving medical help to them, giving them food, giving them just some semblance of normality, I guess. The UNHCR should really, really, really be there. And I'm a little bit on the warpath about this, so maybe once this chat is over, I'll be on the train back to Durham and I'll be furiously typing. I've already written to my MP. I've already written to a friend of mine who's in the shadow cabinet about this, and said for him or Lisa Nandy to give me a call. Because not just the fact that the UNHCR isn't at the border, it's just something that I don't think people have been talking about. I've not heard anyone mention that really, but it seems like a no-brainer to me. But also, near the border, there's a humanitarian aid centre where they put with people to homes for them to stay in somewhere on the continent, and then get transport for. And this moment is being run by volunteers, and there's the Boy Scouts of Poland, which is heartwarming again, but there's no one organisation that seems to be organising people to be sent for driving the opportunity for exploitation in gangs. I think is a real issue. Think about your home, your mom, when you get across the border into Poland, what you get safety, and you get kidnapped. That's what's happening at the moment. So we've got about this. I'm going to this and ring some bells, see if I can get any difference. I don't know, I don't have that much clout, not Kieran, but I hope that I can actually get someone to sort of listen to me about this, because it's a real issue. The other issue, and the other thing I wrote to my MPs about, sorry, my MP and MP friends, is who are all Labour. I don't have any friends who are Conservatives. I think I've pissed them all off too much. Anyway, yeah, but in the humanitarian aid centre, which was an old Tesco, they had two sort of checkpoints, if you like, checkpoints, which is someone standing there checking for wristbands, right? I got this wristband because I registered as a driver to take refugees under UK for as a non-profit, and I'm glad I got all the paperwork done and things like that, because it made it go ahead. Otherwise, they changed the rules the night before to stop private citizens taking people to where they need to go in Europe because of the people scams. Right, the UK there's a second checkpoint. You can only get through the second checkpoint if you're a refugee. You'll get through either. And I mean, I'm saying checkpoint. I don't know why I'm saying this. Basically, there's a desk. There's not even a desk. There's a table and a kid standing next to it, and he goes, "Oh, you can't go in there." It's like a Boy Scout. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a traffic jam at the moment, so I'm going to late get to this place. So they have the desks where people can register to go to different countries. So if you're a refugee, you can go to, you can see the flag of Italy, and then you can go there, and there'll be a couple of Italians sitting behind the desk, say desk, trestle table, and they'll say, you know, here's where we want to stay. We have relatives here, or we speak Italian, whatever, and they're supposed to match them with people. But it's really, really shambolic, and the way that we got Alex and Alexandra felt very. It wasn't as well organised as it should have been. The people who made it happen, fantastic. I can't fault them at all. They're all volunteers. They're all doing the best they can. I genuinely believe that. I'm not faulting them at all. But the fact that the UN human rights, like the High Commission on Human Rights, aren't there is mind-blowing. It is just like, what is going on? How is that even possible? And the fact that the British desk, which has the biggest flag, of course it's got the biggest flag because we're the world's biggest arseholes, which is also the country that you need a visa to go to. There are 44 countries, sovereign states, members of the UN in Europe, okay? 44 of them. Take Ukraine out of it. If you want to go as a Ukrainian refugee to any of those 44 countries, you can, without a visa. And that includes Russia, Belarus, if you're mad enough to want to go there. People are being like forced to go there. They're being kidnapped, essentially, and possibly put in internment camps. We don't really know in Russia. There's thousands of people it's happened to. But what's happened in the UK, as we've said, we're the only country in the whole of Europe that requires visas. And Priti Patel, I'm sorry for saying her name, it feels like someone's crapped in my mouth whenever I say her name. Oh well, so it's just one for red light. She's actually said that she's concerned about refugees from Ukraine getting to the UK via the back door, going through from the Republic of Ireland. So they've asked the Republic of Ireland to require visas for Ukrainian women and children fleeing war to come into Ireland. And Ireland's like, no, piss off. Quite right. But the fact that that is the case is absolutely morally indefensible. But then it gets even worse, because the UK government, being the worst government in Europe, actually, if you don't count, Belarus and Russia, because they're kind of, dictatorship, so it's a little bit different. So I'd say the worst democratically elected government in Europe, possibly the world. They've made it so that in order to take a family into your home here in the UK, you have to register on their website, which we've done, which me and Catherine have done, because we have downstairs where I film the shows that I do. it's a spare room and it's got a bed in it. And this looks really dodgy. I'm like, it's not what it looks like. Anyway, so if you do want to take people, you need to know. This is the rule that they have. You need to know who you're going to take. So you have to proactively get names and say, this is the family. This is how I want to take. So what people are doing is organising on Facebook to get people. This is volunteers again. It's all very ad hoc. It's all very. It's very, very frustrating for me. Look, I know I might not come across as the most organised of people, and it might not make any sense to anybody else what I've got in my head when I formulate a plan, because usually they're quite complex and there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that could go wrong. But my God, if I say I'm going to bloody do something, I do it. I get it done. And I like things to be well organised. I like things to be well run. I'm quite happy to be a cog in a well-run machine. Rather than, a yappy little scouser in a in a world of dysfunction, which is what I am at the moment. And the fact that this is how we're getting people's names on Facebook groups. I mean, that's open to exploitation in the same way that the UNHCR not being at the border there and helping people across Europe. Why hasten, speak to my D, etc., and you can take people where they need to go. Okay, just there could be slots to book in. There could be, that could be put together. That website could be put together. It hasn't been. So I'm a little bit like both appalled and shocked, and I'm really angry about it. This is maybe when I'm kind of calmly angry. Not when I'm ranting at Boris Johnson. But the fact that I went to the border and I wasn't allowed to go to the British desk and say, here I am, there's the refugees, right? I'll stay here and you can find some refugees and I can take them back to the UK with me and give them somewhere to stay. The fact that that system hadn't been set up, the fact that I couldn't cross the second checkpoint to even talk to the desk. I had to ask one of the other volunteers to go over and get someone from the UK desk. A woman came over and spoke to me, and she seemed really keen and really like, oh yes, we will definitely get in touch. It's fantastic what you're doing. We're gonna, we'll email you. In fact, while I was talking to her, another Brit came over and went, "You're that bloke off YouTube, aren't you?" And I went, "One of them." He went, "Three blokes in a pub. I voted to leave." comes I'm like, yeah, you know, and she said, like, just walk up to the desk. So I had to get someone over to speak to me. They promised me that they would email me, and the email still hasn't arrived. So I ask you this: if you drive for 2,000 miles to the border with Ukraine in order to get the names, you know, forget about the humanitarian aid, forget about giving someone a lift somewhere, just to get the names of people who, you know, you can take in the UK. They won't even give you the names. They won't even get back in touch with you. It's a problem. Anyway, I'm here at the Campervan and Motorhome Hire Centre in McGull in Liverpool. If anyone wants to join me here, sorry, if anyone wants to hire a van, I recommend them because it's the van that I hired. I think they let me off on the insurance, so that's good. So thank you very much for watching. I will return maybe with maybe a recorded video later today, just trying to get everything together in a way that a little less rambly, should we say. But yeah, crappy Liverpool internet. My name is Hughes. We can't let you have refugees because of foreboding super overlord Fitty Darkside Patel. Yeah, indeed. Ain't that it? Ain't that it? Anyway, so until I see you again, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. It's over now. I'm having to give the old camper van back, and I'll be doing this again next month. Please join us for that. We're doing another run. We'll be doing a few, actually, by the sounds of things. One of the things that I promised Alexandra when we left, I said, you know, when this is over, we need to help rebuild Ukraine. It's being destroyed. We need to go there and we need to help rebuild. So I'm going to try and do that in any way I can. I can't do anything about Putin. You know, I'd love to kill him, but I can't. So this is the next best thing. This is all basically, you know, doing the right thing, which is something that, you know, the people on the other side don't want us to do, obviously. And by side, I don't mean the Russians. I mean our bloody government. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. And you look after each other. And thank you very much for all the kind donations and all the super chats and everything. If I missed any, I'm sorry, I was driving. But until next time, thank you. And Slava Ukraini!